the session musician, and the machine.
I was raised on a good name and a bottle in the hall, on a Christmas card that smiled and a hole punched in the wall. I was raised to keep it lovely, I was raised to keep it quiet. I was raised on the family recipe, and baby, I'm on a diet. Blood is thicker, that's the line they always sell. Blood is thicker, yeah, and so is caramel. I got cousins who defend a man they'd never let me name. I got a whole genetic tree agreeing to the same. So I packed a bag at 17 and I did the thing you do when the house that made you is the house that's coming through. I said fuck that family and I went and found my own. Got a woman in Lisbon, calls me kid. Got a man in Kyoto, blows up my phone. Got a table in Barcelona, got a couch in Mississippi, and they know every single thing that's wrong with me. And they set a place for me. Now my chosen don't do casseroles and they don't do sympathy cards. They do get on the plane, we'll figure it out. They do showing up in the yard. They've seen me at my ugliest, they've seen the whole damn file. They've watched me be a coward, and they waited out the wild. There's one who knows my drinking years and doesn't bring it up. There's one who knows my silences and knows to fill the cup. There's one who told me flat and hard the things I would not hear, and that's the one I call at 3 a.m. And that's the one who's here. 'Cause a family is a verb, not a name upon a stone. It's the ones who keep on choosing you when you've given them a reason to be gone. I said fuck that family and I went and built a home. Got a brother who's not my brother, got a sister of my own. Got a language full of inside jokes, 12 time zones deep and free. And they know every single thing that's wrong with me, and they still call it me.
That choir you just listened to doesn't exist. 16 voices, brass underneath, a room you can hear the size of. 4 a.m. at my kitchen table in Barcelona from a text prompt. No regional act in Europe can afford to hire that, not one. A 16-piece choir with a horn section is a 5-figure day before anyone's mixed anything. I didn't hire anything. I typed a description of what I wanted and waited about 90 seconds. I want to talk about what happens next. And before I do, I want to be completely clear about something. I'm not a neutral party in this. I'm the guy who did it. This is Citizen One, exploring our urban future. I'm your host, Douglas Stewart McDaniel. Normally on this show, I'm at some distance from what I'm covering. Somebody built a thing, somebody sold a thing, somebody got displaced by a thing, and I go and play urban journalist and find out what happened and why it's important. Not this time. This time, I'm the one who did it, and I need to put that on the table before I say anything else, because everything that follows is compromised by it. I am putting myself on trial here. Here's what I made. Over about 40 hours, I wrote an 8-song album, a concept record, 1 narrator, 1 town, 8 chapters. There's a Music Man Patter song about the therapy industry, a waltz in 3/4, an orchestral lament, a gospel showstopper, rockabilly, glam rock, pop punk, a rock opera anthem set in a tower where everyone who ever damaged you lives on a different floor. Every word is mine. Every arrangement decision is mine. I know what I wanted each song to do, and I iterated in 11 Labs Studio until it did what I wanted with the lyrics. And every single performance on that record was generated, all of it. There is not one human being on it besides me, and I don't sing. Now, here's the part I haven't heard anyone in my position say out loud. That record replaced a session drummer. It replaced a bass player, a guitarist, a horn section, a 16-member gospel choir, a tracking engineer, a mix engineer, a mastering engineer, 9 or 10 paid jobs, 40 hours, 0 pounds, euros, or dollars. I want to be precise about the verb. because it matters. I didn't evaluate those people and decide I could do without them. I didn't audition anyone and find them wanting. I couldn't. As a concept album, this creative work, and yes, it is absolutely creative, was still made with love, passion, and commitment. And without such generative tools, it would not otherwise exist. No budget, no time. I just wanted to concept some music for the first time in my life. It's been a dream since I wrote nationally award-winning poetry when I was 15. That, too, was a parody of Shakespeare. Act 2, Scene 7 of As You Like It. The one about all the world being a stage. In November of 2025, Deezer partnered with Ipsos and ran the biggest study anyone's run on this. 9,000 people, 8 countries. They played the music and asked a simple question: is this made by a human or by a machine? 97% got it wrong. 71% were surprised when they found out. 52% said it made them uncomfortable. 80% said AI music should be labeled. I hope this podcast makes you uncomfortable too, because I sure am. That number, 97%, has been in every article about this for 8 months. It's been in open letters. It's been in policy submissions. It gets cited by the people who are worried about this as proof of a crisis and by the people building these tools as proof of arrival. Both sides love it, which should be your first clue that something's off. Here's what that study actually measured. Detection. Can you tell? That's the whole question. Can you, listening to a track, correctly identify its means of production? Did you cheat? And the answer came back, no, you can't tell. Fine. But consider the implications of that for a second. When have you ever chosen music that way? Think about the last song you loved. Did you love it because you correctly identified the production chain? Did you put it on and think, yes, session players, analog desk, human hands, or was it lip sync, auto-tune, AI plugins in your favorite digital audio workstation? DAW tools that are now standard that plenty of musicians will never disclose. The same kind of tools any self-respecting rapper, indie, pop, rock, or hip-hop artist in a garage uses to layer beats into their craft. Ableton, Apple Logic Pro, Avid Pro Tools, or hell, GarageBand or BandLab. Everybody does it. Of course you didn't. Nobody has ever done that in the history of listening to music. The questions people actually ask are much older and much simpler. Did you like it? Was it any good? Did whoever made this work hard at it? Did they use everything they had? Nobody has tested any of those. Not once. Every blind test that's been run compares different songs by different writers and asks people to spot the machine. And that design has a hole in it you could drive a van through if a listener prefers the human track. Was that the performance, or did they just prefer the song? You cannot tell. The biggest variable in music, the writing, is left completely loose. So we have 8 months of argument, thousands of pages of policy, platform bans, lawsuits, and the entire evidentiary basis is a study that answered a question nobody actually asks. I want to back up about 35 years because I've watched this happen before, several times. I started using Photoshop at version 1, 1989, before it had layers, which, if you've only used modern Photoshop, is like being asked to drive a car without a steering wheel. After that, PageMaker, Quark Express, Freehand, Illustrator, InDesign. I watched nonlinear editing arrive and empty out the flatbed rooms full of people who cut film with their hands, and then those rooms were storage. I watched desktop publishing kill typesetting. I used Linotronic typesetters, wax and brayers in print shops when I was 15, doing layouts and paste-ups for my high school newspaper at the Landrum News Leader in Landrum, South Carolina. An entire skilled trade, a real craft with apprenticeships and specialists and decades of accumulated knowledge, gone in about 10 years, because a designer could now set type at their own desk. Badly at first, then adequately, then eventually, well, nobody voted on that, nobody consulted the typesetters. But here's the part of that history I want to talk about, because I've never heard anyone bring it into this argument. and it's sitting right there. The design annuals. If you worked in a corporate graphics department anytime between about 1975 and 2005, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Every January, corporate departments ordered the books, Communication Arts, Print, the Type Directors Club Annual, the AIGA Annuals, the Society of Publication Designers. Beautiful, hardbound, expensive, $90 a pop, glossy pages full of the year's award-winning work, newsletters, annual reports, infographics, illustration, packaging, the best of everything. And I want to be honest about what those books were for. Nobody bought them to be inspired. You bought them so that when the client needed a new design for their quarterly newsletter by Thursday, your in-house designer could open to page 84, find the layout that won a gold medal in Chicago, and rebuild it with the client's logo on it. That was the job. That was how in-house design got made, at scale, across an entire industry, for 30 years. The award-winning designers knew. Everybody knew. The annuals kept selling. So let's call that what it was. That was a training corpus, a print-based language learning model. Some called it cheating. Others called it the work. These annuals had spines and dust jackets and purchase orders attached. We bought the best work in the field at scale in order to absorb its patterns into our own output. And we called it professional development, and we put it on the departmental budget. And nobody in 40 years called it theft. Now, here's where that analogy breaks, and I'm not going to skip past this because if I do, this whole segment is a cheap shot. Scale and consent. The annuals were a transaction. Somebody got paid. The designers submitted their work, knowing what the book was and what it was for. $90 changed hands, and everybody understood the arrangement. What happened with these models is neither of those things. Nobody submitted. Nobody was paid. The scale isn't a bookshelf. It's most of recorded human output. That difference is real, and it's the strongest argument the other side has. I'm not waving it away, but I'd say this. Every single one of these transitions arrives with the same argument attached, and the argument was never entirely wrong. Something real was lost every time. Craft knowledge that lived in people's hands stopped being passed down. I miss the smell of wax and ink. I always will. And the people who held that knowledge were never the ones who decided whether the trade was worth it. And they were some of my finest mentors. And every time the new tool shipped with templates, Word, PowerPoint, Illustrator, Premiere, After Effects, and Photoshop, stock imagery, and most of us, me absolutely included, leaned on them for years. Nobody starts from a blank canvas. Throughout history, including the old masters who traced real worlds with a camera obscura, Hockney thinks it went back to the Renaissance, and the art historians are still fighting about it. We start from somebody else's structure, and we push against it until it becomes ours, or we don't push, and it stays theirs. AI is a new template, faster, more capable, and built on far more of other people's work than any annual ever was. But we have been standing on other people's shoulders since Gutenberg and telling ourselves we were original the whole time. The book on the shelf was the honest version of that arrangement, sitting in plain sight with a receipt. There's one person who saw where all of this was going, and he saw it early enough that nobody believed him. In June of 2002, David Bowie told the New York Times that music was about to become like running water or electricity, a utility that copyright, as he put it, would no longer exist in 10 years, and that the only unique situation left would be showing up and playing it in a room. You'd better be prepared, he said, for doing a lot of touring. In 2002, 4 years before Spotify was founded, 12 years before streaming took over, everybody treated it as the eccentric talking. That's Bowie being Bowie. He was mostly right and early. Copyright didn't die. That part he got wrong, and I'll own that on his behalf. But the utility and the touring and the collapse of the recording as the thing you sell, all of that happened, and he'd already acted on it. In 1997, he raised $55 million against his own future royalties. 25 albums, 287 songs, everything recorded before 1990. Took the money up front, used it to buy back his own masters from his former manager. Napster launched 2 years later. By 2004, Moody's had cut the rating to one notch above junk, which tells you he was reading the weather correctly, and everyone else in that industry was not. He didn't predict AI. He didn't need to. He predicted something more useful and more dangerous to the people who ignored him, that the recording was never going to be the valuable part. The room was. And if he was right about that, if the durable thing was always the performance, always the people who show up and mean it, then that's not a lament. That's not a eulogy for the record business. That's a testable claim. It's the one nobody has tested. And it's the one this entire argument depends on. Almost all of the public argument about AI, music, and creativity itself is about voices. That's not an accident. Vocals are audible in the most obvious way. You can hear a voice and have a feeling about it. It's the part of a record that a non-musician can point at. And there's a real emotional charge to the idea of a synthetic person singing to you about their feelings. But the work that's actually disappearing is further down the chain, and it's much quieter. It's the second guitarist who came up with the part that made the chorus work. It's the drummer who played it 4 times, and the 4th one was the one. It's the engineer who's been mixing for 20 years and knows without thinking about it, that the second chorus needs the snare pulled back 4 milliseconds, or the whole thing sits wrong. None of that is legible to a listener. All of it is why records sound like records. Nobody is running a campaign about the third take. There's no open letter about the person who knew which room to book. And here's the thing that makes this genuinely complicated rather than just sad. Open any professional DAW right now. The ones certified by the trade bodies, sponsored by the industry associations, advertised in the magazines. Stem separation, that's a model. Generative mastering, model. Pitch correction, timing correction, drum replacement, tone matching, noise removal, all models, all trained on enormous quantities of other people's recordings. Every one of those is a machine making a decision that a person used to make and used to be paid for. They're in the software the same organizations certify. They're on the records those organizations represent. They've been there for years. I want to be careful here because I don't think that's hypocrisy. I really don't. I think it's what every tool transition looks like from the inside. Nobody in a corporate design department in 1994 thought of the annual on the shelf as a copying machine. It was just how the work got done. You don't notice the water you're swimming in, but it does mean something. It means the line moved quietly, gradually, without anyone taking a vote. And nobody has established where the new line goes. And you cannot defend a line you refuse to draw. So here's what I want to do about it. I'm licensing my album, all 8 songs, free, Creative Commons, attribution only. Any musician, any band, any producer who wants to take one of these songs and rebuild it with human beings, players, singers, tracking, mixing, mastering, the whole chain, the words are mine and the structure is mine. Everything else is negotiable. Change the melody, change the tempo, change the genre entirely. Turn the waltz into a dirge, turn the gospel number into a punk song. I'm not precious about anything except the words, and honestly, I'll argue about those if you make a good case. Credit me as the writer, and it's yours. Record it, release it, sell it, play it live. I'm not asking permission back. Then both versions go up. Same page, same player, level matched, unlabeled, and listeners answer one question, not can you tell. Which one would you play again? That's it. That's the whole idea. And the reason it's worth doing is that it controls for the thing every previous test left wide open. Same words, same songs, same writer. The only variable that changes is who or what performed it. Whatever difference shows up is the value of human musicianship measured, not asserted in an open letter, measured. Whatever comes back, I publish. If the human version is better, that goes up. If it isn't, that goes up too. I'll end with the reason I actually care about this, which isn't the argument. There's a song on this record about a woman who died. She was my wife for a long time, and then she wasn't. And then 18 months after I finally got out, the phone rang. There's another song with a spoken passage in the middle of it. It's a sentence somebody said to me across a kitchen table, more or less word for word. And I put it in the song because it was true and because I'd never been able to explain it to anyone otherwise. The machine sings both of those beautifully. Pitch is perfect. Phrasing is right. Every note where it should be. It doesn't mean it. And I honestly don't know whether that's a real thing I'm hearing or whether it's sentiment, whether I just know what's underneath those songs and I'm supplying the weight myself. Nobody knows. That's the whole point. Nobody has checked. Bowie said the room was the thing. He said it in 2002. He bet his own money on it. And he was right about nearly everything else. I don't have a room. The songs are yours. Creative Commons. Attribution only. I'd like to hear somebody mean it. There's a link in the podcast show notes to the complete album. This has been Citizen One, exploring our urban future. I'm your host, Douglas Stewart McDaniel. Thanks for listening.
Blood is thicker, that's the line they always sell. Blood is thicker, yeah, and so is caramel. I got cousins who defend a man they'd never let me name. I got a whole genetic tree agreeing to the same. So I packed a bag at 17 and I did the thing you do when the house that made you is the house that's coming through. I said fuck that family and I went and found my own. Got a woman in Lisbon, calls me kid. Got a man in Kyoto, blows up my phone. Got a table in Barcelona, got a couch in Mississippi. And they know every single thing that's wrong with me. And they set a place for me. Now my chosen don't do casseroles and they don't do sympathy cards. They do get on the plane, we'll figure it out. They do showing up in the yard. They've seen me at my ugliest, they've seen the whole damn file. They've watched me be a coward, and they waited out the while. There's one who knows my drinking years and doesn't bring it up. There's one who knows my silences and knows to fill the cup. There's one who told me flat and hard the things I would not hear. And that's the one I call at 3 a.m. And that's the one who's here. 'Cause a family is a verb, not a name upon a stone. It's the ones who keep on choosing you when you've given them a reason to be gone. I said fuck that family and I went and built a home. Got a brother who's not my brother, got a sister of my own. Got a language full of inside jokes, 12 time zones deep and free. And they know every single thing that's wrong with me. And they still call it me. Now I don't hate them, that's the part nobody sings. I don't hate the people who did the terrible things. I hope they found their peace, I hope they got their rest. I just won't be the room where they come to make their mess. I forgave them at a distance, that's a real thing, that's allowed. You can love a person truly from outside the crowd.